be here. So yeah, it's recording now. We're
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
recording.
So how's your podcast working? Where did you start it?
Yeah, so yeah, the podcast is going pretty well, honestly. I've been working on this for since 2020.
Whoa,
It's been
nice
like
one,
out for 3 years.
nice one, nice one. I
Mm,
did. I have to say, I did a couple of episodes of my podcast previously,
mm,
but I didn't follow it because now all of this apartment is quite spacious.
mm,
I don't have the luxury of talking too much and not to disturb kids or my wife when she's doing
mm,
it. Obviously, I can only have a time over the evenings, which is these walls are quite paper thin,
mm,
so the sound is going all around. So, but we're moving back home now. So as I mentioned, excuse me,
mm.
and there should be a much more space. So I'm thinking of either reviving the podcast or as I was doing it because I was playing around with the online radio format.
How long have you been working with your content regarding the musicians and
Oh, well, the thing is, I started basically in the underground scene back in, and not to lie, 1993, I guess it was. I was about
1993?
yeah, I was about 16. I'm 40. I'm almost 47 now.
Oh,
So I was
you don't look 47. You're younger than me.
well. If I shave, I will be looking like 25. I'm always joking about it, but yeah, that's this is why I'm forbidden to shave, because then I will be looking much younger. But yeah, it was I think 1993. I met friends
Mm,
back home, and they were working on the small fanzine called Blood,
mm,
and
blood. Okay.
it was proper, if you can imagine, cut and paste, typewritten, typewritten magazine with the Xerox, pictures, everything, proper underground stuff.
Mm,
And I joined them because obviously I was always writing something, and I was interested, and they're like, okay, I'm joining you. So I come up with a new name. So instead of Blood, it was called Festering Blood.
mm,
And I found the guy who, back in the day, we talk in 1993, so the computers, like a PC computers, they were quite expensive.
mm,
So we couldn't afford it, but I knew a guy that was my classmate, and
mm,
we did a layout for the printing at his on his computer, and he also printed it out. So it was quite he was like a pro, half professional or semi-pro, if you will,
mm,
and that was quite successful back in the day. And it continued for I think, two more issues. So it was finished with issue number 3, because back then I departed from the team. I did some other stuff, but it was continued as the name for the festival.
mm,
Back home is like a local concerts for a few years, and still like I was thinking about reviving it, but it was a mutual work. It was not my own.
mm,
But anyway, when I been in the UK, that was in 2012, and I was thinking like, what I'm gonna do, because like I like to write about
mm,
stuff. So
mm,
I'm thinking like I can do my own magazine,
mm,
because I always liked printed media. And do I have it? I might have it here.
mm-hmm.
1 second.
Yeah, take your time.
People might, whoever will see that,
Mm,
might they might appreciate it. 1 second. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So in 2012, I come up with a publication called Obscure. It looked like that.
it's a blurry a little bit because the
Oh,
effect you.
1 second. So it was called,
Yeah, yeah. Now I can see it. Yes.
and it was 36 pages. I'll just gonna go like that.
Mm. So that was a project back in 2012 you've been working on?
That's 2012. One
Mm,
second, I'll go show you like that. There was the reviews and stuff,
mm,
and I really like it. But unfortunately, I was preparing the issue number two, and I got injured at work. I can tell
oh,
I got my this fingernail torn off. It was not a big deal because obviously it healed, but uh, because I couldn't work,
mm,
all the money I saved, and obviously I got some money saved for the project we spent on renting and food and things like that.
mm,
So after that, the material was outdated.
mm,
So I think like okay, so that's it for the time being. I can't continue with that.
mm,
And then in 2013 we moved to another town, which I still live here in Burnley.
mm.
And in 2018 I was already toying with the idea of doing a webzine or a web publication. I
Oh,
didn't I didn't have the proper skills for that, but I wanted to do it in WordPress because I have a vague knowledge of it, but not like a perfect. But I started slowly, and in 2018 I created what is still online. It's called Rubber Axe.
Rubber
Ra-
Axe?
yeah, Rubber Axe magazine or
Mm,
webzine,
mm,
and that was basically dedicated to first. It was dedicated to this extra, extremely niche of music called gore noise.
okay.
So it was gore grind, gore noise, stuff like that. But then I was like, okay, it's my publication. I can publish what I want. So I went all the way, through weird stuff. I got classic like black metal, uh, death metal, obviously. But I did a review of Britney Spears album because I could.
Mm,
So why not? Why not?
yeah, why?
And people were like, what the hell? Because nobody is
Mm,
expecting like New Kids on the Block or
mm.
Britney Spears in the metal publication. But I did because it was mine. So
I noticed that you've been doing various of genres. I thought you were really focusing on rock and metal area, but I noticed like you're going also through the alternative and some indie artists, if I'm not
uh,
mistaken.
yes.
Mm,
Because to be honest, I was never into like focused on any genre. I usually listen anything good.
mm,
So obviously it's and you probably will relate to that. You listen depending on you listen to stuff depending on your mood.
mm,
If I'm sad, I'm listening to the sad song. If I'm happy or I'm angry, I can listen to Blood for Blood or some hardcore stuff.
mm.
So it's about that. And obviously, I'm not gonna lie. I like pop music, and because that's mainstream. You listen to radio. You don't listen to the underground stuff because it's not playing on the radio. It's playing mainstream stuff. So yeah, and I like, for example, movies. I did the reviews of the movies, and although there was more focused on the psychotronic so-called cinema or B movies or underground movies, I don't
Mm.
really do reviews of mainstream music, mainstream movies because I don't consider them good. It
The main
depends.
so including like the Marvel movies and DC's like
I I don't watch them that much. I have to say, not
Mm,
that I'm completely like excluding them, but
mm.
it's not my thing. Especially, uh, I don't like to put movies or any work down. I don't really want to do a negative review. So I got like the rule that if I don't like it, I'm not gonna review it because it was
Yeah.
what's the point of telling somebody, okay, the movie is crap.
Mm, exactly. Yeah, I get the idea. If you don't like it, you just don't review it.
Yeah, because people do it and then like, okay, so I can get 90% of today's music and it's derivative. It was already here. You can like thrash metal.
Mm.
Maybe you noticed I put on Instagram. I put the image of Tabahi from Pakistan,
Yes,
and I say
I
no.
remember.
and I say they don't bring anything new to the music, and I like it that way because it's thrash metal as I like it. It's derivative because it's like punk music. Punk music is four chords, and that's punk music. And it doesn't matter what the band is, and you can hear the song or the chord progression 1,000 times, but you still like it because it's the kind of music you like it. You know, so
I get the idea because sometimes even the current music, there is the new sound of it. The gen, the thal, metal, and this is the sound. You don't really find nowadays like there is a new uh, thrash metal album, like it's a pure thrash or a pure death metal, because not many bands they are doing nowadays, except maybe for the OGs such as Cannibal Corpse or other bands. Maybe that's why some people they lean to it because they're bringing the sound we used to love back when we were young.
you mentioned gent, for example.
Mm.
I will go a little bit further, and we might agree, we might not. For example, metalcore, as it is
Mm.
now in Indonesia, for example, is very popular metalcore music. Like bringing
Even
the
here, even
yeah,
here in
bringing
Saudi,
the horizon, all the stuff from the UK.
even here in Saudi Arabia, a lot of people are enjoying metalcore.
Metalcore, in my opinion, is very derivative.
Mm.
But saying this, I don't want to, dismiss bands playing metalcore just because it's, as I said, like in thrash metal and punk music, the progression, the song structures, that everything is similar, or basically this is following the same formula. But if you like to do your music, you play music, you play metalcore, and you put, for example, lyrics which reflects your opinion, your experience in life, that's I have no problem with that. But you get these expert reviewers and they would basically, I don't want to use that word, but they will
Mm.
probably dismiss album like, as I said, derivative, because it's the same as this 15 other albums.
Mm.
And basically you discourage band to go further, because like, okay, what's the point of trying, of us trying, or putting our work out if we don't get any recognition for it, or we just get recognition, okay, another copy band. That's not how it should be. Because whether black metal, death metal, whatever, grindcore, for example, grindcore, if you will, okay, and I will be very I will be speaking in general terms. Grindcore is also very derivative.
Mm. Exactly.
You got the idea. So
Yeah.
I would say even the folk infused metal, like a Viking, whatever is you pronounce that. Uh,
Mm.
Ostoraton, for example, what I did with interview with Muhammad. For me it was different because basically that was the first time I encountered a band fusing Arabic motifs in the music. Okay, that's not new because I think our friend Land from Israel, they also did some folkish elements, but
Yes,
I
they did.
never listened to them, so I can't tell. But for
Mm.
Ostoraton, they were the first like Arabic folk music fusion, if you will. So that's
Yes.
a new one. But if you're like going for Scandinavian, Viking oriented stuff, that's very generic nowadays because
Yes.
it's like folk music. Folk music was, in my opinion, based on the very simple melodies.
Mm.
The the,
Exactly.
the other day I was watching a live concert of Dream Theater, and to be honest, we all agree they are great musicians because they are. There's no two ways about it. But for me,
Exactly.
it's hard to watch that because that's the level of music I don't understand. It's
It's
it's so complicated.
mm.
That I have to be in the proper ease of mind to absorb that complexity. Because I like punk music when I'm like typing something, or just like a background music, because it's basically basic sound, basic rhythm. But listen to Dream Theater, to fully appreciate the music, you have to stop everything, put the headphones or the speakers, and just close your
Just
eyes
listen.
and
Mhm.
listen. And to be honest, I don't have that much luxury just to like get all 40 minutes of properly getting focused on, say, Dream Theater or stuff like that.
And Dream Theater is not for everyone. I don't think they are really approachable to many people.
Oh, no,
Unlike, yeah,
that's why.
mm,
That's why. Yeah. Because you have to make that effort to find the time and listen to them. The
exactly.
same.
And
The same for.
it feels like it's a band for musicians, not for everyone to listen to.
I would say the musician will probably uh, like them or entertain them more because they understand what it takes, to create that kind of in that level of music. Because I can tell you, I briefly played drums. Yeah. So,
So you've been a drummer, right?
oh, just very briefly. But
Who's your favorite drummer?
I don't have favorite drummers, But I
Okay,
watched one drum solo of what was it? What it was Mike Mangini,
mm,
and he was also playing with Dream Theater, and just watching him, playing that, this solo, I'm like, I can never play like that because that's just okay, heads
mm,
off, I can throw the drumsticks away, that's the level. No, not many drummers will achieve. Or
mm,
when you listen to stuff like Brotherkin from, I think they were Canadian,
mm.
or Cryptopsy. Now I think they are playing in Saudi Arabia now.
Yes, they are
Yeah, so
coming on the 1st of December.
yeah, so them drummers are totally machine beasts, So that's that. But as with the music for musicians, that's for example also stuff like
Mm.
I'm not really into, let's say, psychedelic rock, but
Oh,
I can listen to it. It depends on when and what band we talk about. And for example, I never actually knew about that band unless I was introduced to it via another band from Indonesia, and then the Australian band called King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard.
yes. I know. I've never listened to them, but I've listened to them this year with their album that it it has that long title, but I remember there is a song called The Dragon. And
I
that album.
From them I like the Rattlesnake. There was this,
Yes.
there was a song I was like, wow, that's the song,
Mm,
and you listen to it, and now you know that you like the band and their genre. You know,
mm,
you never knew you would like. So
exactly.
there's like a discovery, and now obviously to and now I will continue from the main discussion, and
Mm,
the RapX webzine continued basically till today,
mm,
but the last post I made in April this year because I was moving the hostings and then I was playing with the layout and all the stuff.
mm,
But in 2020, 2021, I think it was,
mm.
because and it was quite silly, just unexpected offshoot. I was starting to get interested in the Indonesian scene, and
Okay.
that was very the occasion was very weird because of, okay, I already knew like a brutal death metal band, or the death metal band in general from Indonesia, and they were good. But
Mm,
apart from them, I didn't know anything about their music. But I was in a mood for glamour metal, like a Motley Crue and Poison and all this 90s, sleaze metal,
yes.
if you will. And I'm like, and then I was like, I'm wondering, like, is there something like that in Indonesia? So I was just looking at glamour metal in Indonesia, and there actually was a band called, if I'm not mistaken, the Grobs, and they were playing glamour metal.
Yeah.
And And I'm like, wow, they are not existing anymore. They split up like a couple of years ago. But just to, because, for me, as a Central European guy, Indonesia, I know that it's like the most populous Muslim country in the world. And you don't expect bands like that exist there. So I'm like, if that exists, what else do they offer? Like, in a general wise. And then I discover stuff like late rockers of 1990s and the late 80s and 90s, like Niki Ardila, Inga Christie, Nikki Astria, and all that rock ladies or female singers. And that was something I didn't expect. So like, wow, I need to really get a proper look in that. That's why I created Indocult as the web dedicated to Indonesian music. And it actually was until I think beginning of this year. Maybe like a couple of months ago, because I'm looking always at the music, and obviously going on YouTube, Spotify, what have you, SoundCloud and Reverb Nation, and looking for music to discover. And occasionally you got stuff from Korea, you got stuff from Thailand, and then I'm thinking like it's not really fair to just favor one country and just forget them, because what do I know about the music scene, say, in Azerbaijan? Nothing. Or I don't know, Uzbekistan. I have no idea about them. And first of all, they are interesting to discover, and they are good. Okay, not everything, but like everything in life, not everything is 100% perfect. But bands and artists I discovered, I'm like, wow, I was blown away. The same is like in Saudi Arabia. I didn't expect in Saudi Arabia to get such a good scene. It's small, okay, but that means like it's more closely knit and held together, and it's interesting to discover. And not only a metal and rock genre, but I had the other day I was listening on Spotify, for example, going Pakistani singers or Afghanistani singers, Saudi Arabia singers, Lebanese singers, stuff you never listen, you can't hear in Western media, And okay, it's acquired taste, because not if you Muhammad mentioned one singer, and I can't really remember the name, but he's a traditional Saudi Arabian singer. That kind of music. Okay, it's not typical to our ears, but normal like Saudi pop or Lebanese pop, it's okay. I can listen to it, and it's not very unlike what you hear in the media now, because obviously, as we mentioned, the song structures and the arrangements are basically the same, because you're following what's popular in the music nowadays. The music is global, so that's quite interesting. And obviously,
I get it, because
Indocult was founded on the idea to promote the music, not just write about it, but to promote the music, because what I've seen, and I don't know if you might be familiar with the practice of it. For example, you have a band, and you want to get reviewed in some established magazine. I'm not gonna name names, but you will know. So you say, but they expect you to pay for it. It's called pay to be reviewed. And I'm like, how can you? Are we okay, or are we frozen? Oh, we're a little bit frozen. But how can you?
Yes, I see. I saw the images frozen a little bit, but I still can hear you.
Yeah, no problem. How can a band, for example, from Indonesia? I spoke about that with my friend from the Melting Minds. By the way, very interesting band, and we were talking. How can the band from Indonesia can afford, say, $200 to pay for a review in a magazine? That's nonsense. You can't afford that.
Yeah, exactly. I've been talking with a lot of artists in here to review their music, and to be honest, I did not put any, any financial or any fees to review their music. I just told them, you know what, just send them to me, and give them, I'll give them an honest review. Until maybe recently, uh, I've started going through payment, but it's not really expensive. I told them you can just offer me $20 and that's it.
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't even
Mm,
even accept. Basic majority of cases, I don't accept physical media. Why? Because
mm,
just to send a CD, and I will also again use the example of Indonesia because I got the most experience with Indonesian. It's $30
mm,
to send a CD to
mm,
UK. So I
mm,
can't in being honest, I can't ask a band to send me a
mm,
CD and pay $30 to get a review because okay, that's a burden on me also because I can't say then that the music is bad
mm,
because
mm.
how they go
No,
is extra
see.
mile. They go into extra mile to
Mm,
basically get you the CD or a tape or don't not the vinyl but usually tape or CD. And now okay, I can be completely honest and I say okay, your music
mm,
sucks. But that will be I injured their feelings because
mm.
they try. I don't
No.
I don't I don't see that there are
Mm.
bands who just make fun of it. Okay, let's just write something or record something just because they really want. Everybody wants to.
Exactly. They want to record. They wanted to enjoy doing this music. Yes, and I totally get this idea. So, recently, and I've done this maybe only once, but I'm gonna do it again as well. An artist asked me to do a review for their song, so I
Mhm.
told them, listen, it's gonna be $20 for a
Yeah.
review, but I put an agree for that. I'm gonna listen to the song first, and I'm gonna record that. If I like the song and there is a review, even if there are similar, even if there are like uh, let's say some points to put onto the song, like you should have gone like a little bit here clean, a little bit harsh, but in the end I like the song. I can receive the payment and I can start doing the edits and spread all over the media. But if
Yeah.
I did not like the song, you don't have to pay me. That's the agreement between me and the artist.
And
You
that's
can
that's a fair
you're
that's a
gonna pay
fair
me.
agreement. Yeah. That's a fair
Yeah,
agreement.
because because if you paid me and I did not like the song, this is a loss for you.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and to be honest, I'm gonna even I told my even I told the artist, I'm gonna say my honest opinion about it. I'm not gonna lie. Even if the song was bad, I'm gonna say I apologize, but I did not like the song. It's
Yeah.
the entire structure. I did not like it. It's not for me. Um, you could seek for someone else to review for that. So yeah, I understand the struggle for because the scene of the music scene. Uh, Generally in the Middle East, I'm not talking specifically here in Saudi Arabia, but the
Mhm.
entire Middle East, even in the UAE, in Kuwait, in Bahrain, Qatar, Jordan, Egypt, there are a lot of independent artists.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking rock and metal wise, I'm talking rock, metal, alternative, indie, and even some rap and hip hop
Yeah.
artists. There are a lot of independent artists, and I know how the struggle to make a song from the
Yes.
process of I'm not a musician. I've never played any instrument in my life. I just covered some songs and I was
Yeah.
just singing, and it was entirely bad. Even if I give it a review, I will give it a minus, and I just shut them
Yes.
down.
I know exactly what you mean. Yes.
So but I know how difficult it is for these artists to go through all this process.
Yeah.
Even some artists from another field, and I'm focusing on rock and metal because it's the music that I enjoyed listening to ever since I was a kid.
Yes.
I wasn't really a fan of pop, hip hop, rap, and I tried to listen to them to other genres. It just they're not for me. I don't hate them, but they're not really for me. But some of them they were seeking me and hey Ace, how you doing? We are looking for to record label, someone to record for us. I tried to contact with other friends
Yeah.
to help them with that matter. So the point is, um, uh, I can get payment, but it's fair payment. I'm not gonna ask anyone to pay me like $100
Yeah.
or 150. I'm not sure if you know. Do you know the guy? You know a guy named Nick Nocturnal or Ohio? These guys are really big and in the middle world. They are content creators as well. They do a review for the song. If I wasn't mistaken, because one of my friends told me they take like $500 to review a song. Can you imagine paying a 500 to get reviewed by a song, to review a song
Well,
by this guy?
listen, I didn't really want to name names, so I'm not
Mm,
gonna. But the thing is, and I will
mm,
I will follow your thought because
mm,
you probably experienced that as well on Instagram. For example, you post something and you got these comments promoted on this and
mm,
that channel, whatever, because they want you to pay. And I
yeah.
always say, I am doing what
Mm,
is called, and I'm proud to do it, is free music promotion. I'm not get paid,
mm,
and therefore I can say
mm,
what I want. I'm not gonna lie if I don't
mm.
like it, but okay, as I said,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't review, I don't do negative reviews. So that means if I post something, I consider it good.
Mm,
Do I do repeated
mm,
posts? Of course I do, because I'm coming back and back and forth with stuff I like. But as you
mm.
say, to ask £500 dollars to review, it's a ripoff. I would call it as it is.
Uh,
It's a proper ripoff, and it's leeching
mm,
from artists, because I don't know up and coming band or singer or a rapper or whoever just having a $500 just like that, to spend. $500 is a lot of money,
yeah,
so
it's a lot, but yeah, but you know, you are reaching like someone who has over, if this guy listened to a song or this let's say this content creator who listened to this song, you could just say that this content creator, if he just posted, hey guys, I listened to this song, I liked it. On the next day, maybe you'll find like this artist gained over million listens within a
yes,
day.
yes,
You
okay,
see, because so there is a benefit for that. I know it's a little bit too much, but there's like a huge step for them if they paid like this content creator this amount of money, but in return they're gonna get. If they, yeah, let me put it that way. Let's say there is an artist who made a really good song, really great song, but they did not get the exposure, and gave them to that content creator, and they paid like $500. Can you imagine? You just paid $500 to get exposed. On the next day, maybe you'll get follows by, let's say, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, over 20 maybe. Just
yes,
following. I'm not even talking about
I,
listening. Mm,
I see what you're saying,
mm,
and just for the sake of discussion, because I think
mm,
people who will watch that, they might agree, they might disagree, but the thing is,
mm,
the
mm,
problem what I see is you paid to get
mm,
an opinion, shall we say. Okay, you can
mm,
send a tape or CD to Fenris, for example, from Dark Throne, and he might give
mm,
you his opinion. He might not, but if he likes it. The thing is, there was things, for example, Fenris likes, and I don't like.
mm, mm,
Uh, you might be in a band, and such a good or well-known content creator will dislike your stuff. I can
Mm,
like stuff. You know, whose opinion
mm,
is more valid to you?
mm.
Maybe his, but he gave you the negative. The thing is, the guy
Mm.
might listen to 100 songs a day. How relevant his opinion is if he listened, for example, for 2 minute songs once. That's the point.
Yeah, I get it. Mm,
The other
that's
thing in
true.
this is the other thing in discussion is we are living in a very fast world. Everybody wants to get in a famous instant. We don't believe in the world of basically instant fame for the
Mm,
influences and all that. If you
mm,
get say 5,000 listens on Spotify for a day,
mm.
it's basically nothing because it will pay you 5p, let me say, yeah, or five
Mm.
cents in the US currency, maybe
Which
10
which
cents,
is not.
which is nothing.
Yeah,
But
which
the
is
thing
nothing.
is, but the
Yeah,
thing is,
exactly.
those 5,000 people, I doubt that 10% of them will remember your song next day because
That is also true.
they got another avalanche of new music coming to their to their speakers or the headphones, and unless the
Mm,
song is so good that it becomes viral for some strange reason as they are, you know you will get forgotten. I'm not saying that
exact.
that
Mm,
that you, or well, I'm not saying you per se, but as a band or artist can't pay some figure, some well established producer, for example, whatever, for opinion, because that's how it is.
mm,
They make money this way, and you can learn from there. And the knowledge is not free. You have to pay for it. But the thing is, like, if you the price has to be reasonable, and $500
that's true.
for opinion of anybody
Mm,
is a ripoff. And I will call anybody out for that, because that's how it is.
mm,
Because if the band starting, I think what there's the pluses and minuses, the pros and cons in the underground scene. Oh, and by the way, I don't really want to speak about underground, because I don't think that underground exists anymore. Because underground was when, for example, you couldn't get a record deal because nobody will sign you because you were so extreme. So you got this,
mm,
I don't know, $2,000, $3,000, and you made yourself a demo tape, and you did 300 copies, and you sell out. But it's not that
mm,
you could, you probably nowadays you can
mm,
spend you can sell 1,000 copies, but you simply didn't have money to make more. If you could, you
mm.
probably would. So underground nowadays, with all the exposure on Bandcamp, from Bandcamp to YouTube, I don't think that it exists anymore as we knew it. But anyway, that's beside the point. What I think
Mm.
is that bands back then, because there were so few that can afford to put out the official record, you knew them and you listen to them,
Yes.
and we didn't have that much money, for
Mm,
example. And especially like me,
mm,
I'm from the ex-communist country, so obviously the money was tight. I didn't have much money to spend, so we bootlegged tapes and stuff like that. If there was
mm,
prior to CDs, we didn't have a CDs back then in our,
mm,
our country. So everything was on tape, and you listen to them. For example, can you imagine that I listened to that album, Spiritual Healing, for 6 months in a row? Six
mm.
months is nothing like play side A, side B, side A, side B. I still remember that album almost by heart, because that's the album which stuck with you. Nowadays, you
Exact.
open
Mm,
browser, and you got a million bands fighting, and battling for your attention. Like, two songs, two notes, next, next, next. So although
Exactly.
it's very easy nowadays to get the exposure, it's very hard in the same time because there's 100,000 other people, bands, record labels, artists, fighting for that your limited time. So I think, and this is me talking as a guy who tried to promote to help artists.
Mm,
I'm still thinking about the way how to do it properly, how to do it effectively. And okay,
mm,
my background is in the marketing, but I didn't do marketing as much, or management. But
mm,
I look at the stuff what people do, learning from the mistakes, from the successes, not to copy,
mm,
because you can't just copy the
mm,
stuff. But why
mm,
people do things they do, how can I do it better? And for example, I learned one thing that if you're not constrained with the idea that I need to make money, you
mm,
basically you have more freedom, to do and to actually help
mm,
them. Because, for
mm,
example, you have a band, you're good. Other guy
mm,
has a band, he's also good, but not that good as you. But he paid me money. Who I'm gonna
mm,
promote? Him, because he paid me money.
mm,
But you actually
mm,
bring the better music out. Now I don't have that
mm,
problem because I can bring out you, whatever, because that's how I do. Okay, I can't do everything at once because the algorithm in Instagram wouldn't like it and all the stuff. You have to be mindful of that. But there are still, even today, I was researching some stuff how to do things differently, and see, and we'll see how it goes. Because as I said, there's a lot of artists which are good and they deserve exposure, and they don't have it unless guys like you, me, and other like
mm.
us will do it. That's simple as that.
Exactly. Mm. Yeah, that's true. And speaking of the promotion of the song, of their music, there's always this discussion about um, uh, releasing albums. Every Friday you just sit there and you see how many albums there are out there.
Yeah,
I mean, for example, every Friday I get over 50 records. Who would ever listen to all these 50 records on one time? You cannot really listen to all of that. I mean,
yeah.
every week I would listen
You
to
you,
like
you can you
maybe five. Maybe I would listen in a week for 5 records, and sometimes it reaches out to 10 records if I was like not really busy with the live things and
yeah,
there are no other music coming out.
yeah,
That's what I am encouraging the new artist. I'm telling them, guys, don't go full records nowadays. No one is paying much attention to full records. Only the big names they can
yeah.
survive this making a new records. The many bands they succeeded. I mean, let's talk about this a new generation. For example, there's a Spirit Box. They succeeded just because they released only songs, and they
Yeah,
only released one album and only EPs, 3 4 songs. That's it.
yeah,
Keep it consistent. I mean, you can release a song every month or every 2 months. Let's say by the end of the year, you're gonna have like 6 songs, but consistent. You're gonna keep the fans and everyone who's listening to you consistently going back and forth to you, listening to your song and comparing to what you have released and compared to the previous releases.
uh,
So
you got
I'm not
you
really
got you got a
encouraging people.
you got a point here. You got a point
Mm,
here, and I will pontificate a little bit further to that. Today, I saw a nice post on Instagram. I
mm,
think it was the account, if I remember correctly, was People of New York, and there was a guy who
mm,
basically said that we are selling ourselves to the algorithm because you do everything
mm,
they want you to do to be relevant or to stay relevant. And that was whole
mm,
post basically devoted to this thought, and it's so true because this is, and what you said, it's basically a part of another post I read that you can
Mm.
make an album nowadays because album will take, for example, 1 year to create and to produce and record and everything. But in that 1 year, you will be forgotten.
Exactly.
But but you are forced nowadays because the algorithm force you to be if you want to be relevant, you have to post consistently every day, every second day. Whatever crap I would say. You do just
Mm.
to stay on the page, and that algorithm will feed your post to the audience, which I understand. That's the way how it is. On the other hand, what I really like, and I know that with the major bands, it's not feasible anymore. But I remember even bands like Cannibal Corpse, for example, when they started, they were
Mm.
just started like any other band, and they were corresponding with the fans on the basically on a personal basis. You can go to
Mm.
Instagram and write Steve from Impetago uh, a DM, and he will reply to you. And he's such a cool guy that if I think if you ask him what time is it, he will tell you how to build the watch. So
Mm.
to read his answer, he's very knowledgeable about scene still, although he's not playing actively anymore. And it's so cool to hear from him. Obviously, he can't answer 10,000 people a day because that's not possible. But bands, they either are a
Mm.
business units, and you consider your art as a business. In end of the day, we
Mm.
all need to eat and pay the bills.
Mm.
Or it's artist as an artist, as he creating an
Mm.
art and keeping the connections on the personal basis. So basically, we can talk, on daily basis or weekly basis, and keep that connections and rely in part on them connections, to spread the knowledge of your band. But that's when the participation of the fans is expected, and not many people do that. Because I think me as a fan, I'm posting, for example, on my Facebook, on my Instagram, I'm posting what I'm listening, giving a shout out, to bands, to check, guys, check this out. This is a good stuff. And people don't do it I would say, in
Mm.
general. People say like, okay,
Mm.
music, click, okay, next, okay. We should all take this time, and if you like the music, not just give it a thumb below and subscribe to the channel. That's important for the artist, but also to spread the knowledge. As I remember
Mm.
when we were back in these 90s, and we meet with my friends like, oh, have you listened to this album, new album? Because this is the new album from, I don't know, let's say Edge of Sanity or whatever. You know,
Mm.
oh, I
Mm.
haven't heard it yet. Yeah, so you borrow the tape. You listen to the like, oh, that's a crazy stuff, and that's how the knowledge spread. And there's a
Yeah.
million bands I seen from 80s and 90s I never heard of, and nowadays obviously we have this luxury to find them on YouTube or whatever else, and you can listen to them and
Mm.
like, oh yeah, that's that. They released the album in 1993, for example, 1994. Oh, I missed them somehow because I never got a chance to know them back then. I was like, oh yeah, it's still good, stuff like that. But yeah,
Mm.
the participation of the listeners and the bands, because basically what they fight is against the music industry as it is. And the music
Mm.
industry, as we know, it's not about sharing the love of music, it's about earning money. And you either are
Exactly.
on that side of making money and you do anything, you basically hustling and you don't care,
Mm.
or you
Mm.
love the music and you do it for the love of music. And there might be a middle ground that, okay, I love the music, I'm doing something because I am not a right person to say that, probably, because I don't really like making money of the work of others. But I understand that if you spend money of building a channel, of building a podcast, investing into the equipment, and then you basically producing the content yourself. Why can't you be paid? That's I understand, because not many people know that, but musicians and podcasters and YouTubers will know that they produce, for example, 1 hour of podcast, and we're not talking just playing music, but spoken word, and doing the inserts and stuff like that. It's far more time than 1 hour. That's a day, maybe 2 days. So what you should be compensated for that if you're successful. And who's gonna compensate you? The listeners. I think that if people like your stuff, they should give you that $2, $5. But
Exactly. Yeah.
where's the threshold? Where is this a limit of when you start basically craving money more than the exposure for the bands? It depends, I think, individually for people, because some people just can't get enough. I think that's that. But for
Yeah,
example,
that's true.
but going full circle back, you know, there are bands and artists who could never afford that kind of money to spend on the promotion. They can't, and this is when
And
we
the, and
need
the,
to. Yeah,
this is our part in here, to give
exactly,
them the exposure. It's yeah,
exactly,
we know how tough and struggle for them to make the music. So there's no pressure for them. We can review, we can talk about them, and spread the word. We can just simply spread the word about it.
exactly. For example, I know there was a one
Mm,
band. I think there was a in. They are not based, or they were not based in Palestine, but I think they were Palestinians, probably living somewhere else. But the band was from Palestina,
who?
and I
What's the
don't I,
band's
don't- I,
name?
I don't I don't remember the name. But for example, would you expect them to get that money and just to pay some big name $500? No, they don't have it. They're
Mm,
lucky to be alive. So
mm,
that's how I feel like obligation from the music world, you know, to
mm,
step in and do something if they are good. If they are not good, no, don't bother, because it's not like, oh, let's take a pity from them, because the musicians should be considered on the quality of the music they produce. If it's good, let's
exactly.
shout from the rooftops this good music. If it's not, okay, you
Mm,
can say that it's bad, but I'm not gonna say that. I will just not talk about that,
mm,
as I said, previously. So yeah, it's a
mm,
complicated thing, but as everything in life, it's not easy. There's no shortcuts. I think in the end of the day, the
mm,
bands the bands who work hard usually will meet some kind of success. It only differs from what the meaning of success is to whoever you will
mm.
talk to. You know, for me,
Exact. Yeah, exact. Mm,
I I have some ads, for example, on Indocul side, and I'm thinking of
mm,
removing them
mm,
because I'm not even earning any money, because the site is not like
mm,
frequently visited,
mm,
but just
mm,
because I don't really want to for it to become like a corporate stuff, or oh, I rely on advertisement, income, to publish. I can afford to publish it for free, because like I'm working my job, so. And this is kind of people
yeah.
people spend money on drink or drugs, or they're collecting stamps, for example, and they spend money on that. They feel
Mm,
okay. I spend money of, so I can publish my website easy, so everybody get this vice, if you will, but it's hobby, more like a
mm,
hobby. So to
mm.
to everybody, it's each own, So that's that.
Yeah, true. Even for me, even when I started Steel Shout, it's like because I wanted to talk about something that I really enjoy, and something, you know, It all started when I listened to that album by the band called Shadow of Intent.
Hmm.
The music was really great, was really amazing, and I really wanted to talk about it. You know what's funny? Until this day, I did not talk about this album, but it was what made me initiate this project.
Yeah, that does.
It was the torch that made me initiated this. So yeah, we just want to talk about music and how do we feel about it and what different perspectives we get when we listen to music. Some people would point at music we listen to like this one. There is a part of this song. I like the melodies in it, but when I listened to it, oh, I did not pay much attention to that part of melodies.
Hmm.
So I love to listen to other people's perspective from when it comes to listening to music.
Yeah.
What did you enjoy about it? Why do you think this song or this band? What makes them unique from other artists or other bands? Why do you go from, let's say, the mainstream bands, you just abandoned listen to the mainstream and you went to independent artists? You see there are a lot of differences. So listening to other people and how they enjoy the music, also discovering new music, that's what I really like about this. I've been talking with a lot of people when they listen to the show or meeting people in public, and they give me suggestions or other bands to listen to. I found a lot of hidden gems from them,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
lot of
Well,
hidden gems still. And I was looking for why is no one talking about this? I looked to major websites or major content creators. I don't see them like talking about these hidden gems, but they are really really great.
yeah.
I remember.
The the
Do
thing.
you recall? Do you recall? Remember? Do you recall a band called Orbit Culture?
No,
If you
never
heard
heard
of them,
of. Orbit culture. Mm, it might ring a
doesn't
bell,
ring a
but
bell, right?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe
Mm.
something similar of
They got
similar name, but no.
they got really popular in the last 2 years, but I've been listening to them in the past 5 years before they get the major exposure.
Mhm.
That was a hidden gem. You
Yeah,
see that? So you can see, one maybe one day when you listen to a hidden gem, and when they get the exposure they deserve, you're gonna just stand there and say, "Hey, I've been listening to these guys before they get this exposure."
yes,
You
yes.
get that feeling a lot, right?
I know that feeling. For example,
Mm,
I got friends who were playing in the band. You know, they released the CD, then they got the demo tape, then got the release CD. Now they got the release CD. You know, the same album after 20 years or 30 years, I think. Got
mm,
they and I'm glad. You know, I'm so happy for them. You know, because like oh they did started they basically with no knowledge of how to play instruments, and they basically go that that way all the way up basically to be successful. And for them it's
mm,
success. It's not like they sold off arenas or something like that. It's not. But for the band from that small town we live in to
mm.
release in 1993 to release a CD. No, not 93. I'm lying. 1998. They were releasing the CD
Okay.
on a French label. It was back in the day. It was quite unheard of. It was like, oh my god, you're really lucky. Nowadays, you can release album without no problem. You know, if you want in Japan, you
Mm,
can release album in Japan, but not back then.
mm,
So for them, it was really a success. And now, obviously, after 30 years, they were still interested enough to release, you know, the album again. That's what I call success. But I would
that is
say,
true.
I would say this: in the end of the day, we are all, as individuals, you know, the judges or arbiters of what is good. If you like something, it's good, and
Mm,
nobody can tell you that it's crap. For example, I can
mm,
listen to noise music, harsh noise. Uh,
mm.
Not really opera. I don't really like opera, but if I find it if I find a good piece which I like, I will listen to it, and I don't expect somebody will tell me, oh, why you listen to opera because it's crap. You don't like it, don't listen to it. That's our free will. So that's how would I say it is. You know, it's only good music and bad music, and how we react to that. That's how it is. But
Yeah.
I will repeat it again that for us as a podcasters and publishers, especially with underground or independent artists, that's our
Mm,
part of the whole story. And as you say,
mm,
with
mm,
culture, that I knew them before they strike it big. That's
mm,
a thing when you see a band and you write about them or you talk about it on the podcast, and suddenly they got big. It might not be even because of you, but you might think, oh yeah, I got them on my podcast, or oh, I got an interview with them, and that's
mm.
the level of satisfaction I'm completely okay with. Because if
That is
I
true.
if I do an interview with somebody, I consider them friends. We don't
Mm,
speak every day. We might not even speak again, but I consider
mm,
them on a friendly level. They are musicians I
mm,
talk to daily, and they are musicians
mm,
we're still in touch, and we basically are on that personal level of friends. We don't even need to talk about music. We talk about life. How's your family? Oh yeah, we went there. How's your kids? Okay, the stuff like that, and then you
mm.
see that this music helps to really create a relationship that lasts. And I think that's the nice thing about that. For
That is true.
example,
It connects
who,
people.
who,
Mm,
who would guess even a year ago that I
mm.
would be speaking on a camera with a guy from Saudi Arabia. A year ago, I wouldn't even know
Yeah.
that there's a metal in Saudi Arabia, metal music. So that's something, something nice, that you have somebody to talk
Yes.
to and to get those
Mm,
discoveries, and you can tell me, hey Rudolph, check this band from our country or from
mm,
from my city, because they starting there really good.
mm,
So you can help them pointing to me or to somebody else and spread the word. The
mm.
same with me, I can tell you, oh, this is band from my town, and check them out. And that's how we networking.
You mentioned that word here, and who would have guessed that I would have discovered metal scene in Saudi Arabia? You see this word, I was really hoping that one day when when I interacted with the scene here in Saudi Arabia, the scene started really long time ago, even before I encountered with them. I started encountering with them in 2020,
Hmm.
but they've already started in the 90s,
Yeah,
and
I know.
and yeah, so. Uh, when someone from other countries, they were saying, I hear them saying like, we never knew there was a scene in Saudi Arabia playing metal, playing like not really the traditional metal. No, there's the extreme metal, there's the heavy metal, there's the
Yeah.
thrash, there's the melodic. We have gent, we have the new sound of metal in here. When I hear from outside of Saudi Arabia, I it makes me really happy that even people from outside, they recognize what's going on here in Saudi Arabia, because the development and the improvement of the sound and the scene in here is really something really amazing, something that I have never thought that in not even in my dreams I would hear that someone from, let's say, from Germany, from the UK, from the US, who would admire listening to, oh, I love this band from Saudi Arabia. Who would have
Yeah,
thought that?
exactly. That's the beauty of it, and obviously that's also this motivation
Mhm.
for the bands, to develop themselves. And obviously, after the
Ex-
first wave, coming the second wave of the bands, and depends on what the situation brings, because
mm,
we never know. But yeah,
mm.
and obviously we will continue with that. And I I ran out of the coffee now, so I'm gonna go and make another one. But to be honest, I'm more than happy for our initial discussion, I would say, because I think it's not the last one. It's just the first one, and I hope to speak again, and we will probably do some topical discussion, and hopefully that will even grow
Mm,
to maybe even more
mm,
people being like introduced and have sharing their opinion about. So I hope, and I'm looking forward to, maybe soon. Who knows?
Yes, yes. And I would, by the end of the year, there is something I've been always doing since 2020. By the end of the year, I gather my friends and I send them this message. Yeah, I tell them, guys, make a video for 2 minutes, send them to me about the highlights in this year.
Yeah.
So maybe you can participate. You can participate as well.
Oh, it will be
What do
my
you
pleasure.
say?
It will be my pleasure.
Yes, you can participate.
Yeah.
You can just easily record the video for yourself.
Yeah. By the way, my connection or your
Ro-
connection is
Rodolphe, I
going.
think it's cutting. I can't
Yeah.
really hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No, unfortunately, I think we're cut off. But anyway, that was all for today, and we were talking to Ace from Steel and Shout podcast. So give him some love and support, and obviously check indocult.com. That's my web publication, and we will be back. I
Mm,
hope sometimes in the future, talking hopefully with more musicians or more publishers
it's cutting a lot,
and
Wallah.
and people dedicated to the spreading the music. That's all from us today.
Hello?